we're just going to do a sound check. Obviously, with this many people, I want to make sure that you can hear me. So, the people in the back, how's the sound? Okay. And also, before we settle in, you're going to have to be at least this distance away from your partners. So, just make sure you have yourself adjusted so there's plenty of room. Okay, sounds good. Okay, and again, final call for anyone who wants to move your mat. If you want to come up closer, because I'll be demonstrating here, and because there's so many people, I won't be able to walk around and adjust. So, also, so that you know, the people who aren't in our school, I unlock the bathrooms that are right out this door and to your right. So at any time, please feel free to get up and use the facilities. There's also a water fountain out there. The way this will work, if you did sign in, there were 2 handouts here. And if you didn't sign in, no problem, you can sign in afterwards. But we'll do an asana class, which will run about 50 minutes. Then we'll move in to a guided relaxation, which will be 10 to 15 minutes, followed by some pranayama, which is breathing, a guided meditation, and then you will have about a half hour to read the handout. The handout is about how yoga can help prevent breast cancer, and I thought that would tie in nicely to this month. And I notice a lot of pink mats out there, which is great. Also on the handout, it says that there are 54 benefits of doing yoga and different ailments that it can help, so you can read through that. Also, there is a list of links of places to take yoga, retreat centers, places to find about yoga online, magazines, etc. So during that extra half hour on your laptops, as part of your professional development, you can explore those links. So again, please feel free to get up when you need to get up. Also, I understand that there are some people who are new to yoga. Raise your hand if you've never done yoga, this is your first time. Okay, great. This is a beginning all levels class, and the way it works is that you start where you are. So for those of you who've practiced yoga and you feel comfortable doing all the asanas, which are the poses, feel free. If you need to step back a little bit and just modify, please feel free to do so. And are there any questions before we begin? Okay. One final thing, there were 2 cameras. Some people were concerned. That's just filming me because I have to do an assessment of myself for my teacher certification program. So it's just filming me, and then I'll watch myself afterwards. So no need that this is going to show up on YouTube. hotwesteffortteachers.com. It's okay. Okay. Okay, then at this point, we're going to begin in crocodile pose. And if you'll come down onto your mat, you're going to splay your legs out behind you. And if you can't see me, if you look at someone near me, that works. And just fold your arms over each other. And you're not going to watch me do this because I'm going to end up lifting my head so you can hear me, but everyone's going to put your head down and rest it on your forearms. So we're going to begin practice today, centering and focusing on our breath. Ideally, the way to breathe is through your diaphragm. And as you breathe, right below your rib cage, you can feel your diaphragm extending out toward the mat, and on the inhale, contracting. As you breathe, focus on the breath. Feel your ribs expand and contract. Let go of the day's concerns. Try to focus on being in the moment right now. Feel the relief of just breathing. Let yourself be at ease with how it is for you right now. Let your body soften with the breath. Let go of any tightness in the belly or in the chest. Let go of the need to achieve anything in the next hour or so. In the practice of yoga, there's nothing that we need to achieve or prove. Just savor being at home in the body. It's customary at the beginning of yoga practice to set an intention. While this is a personal choice, I'm going to share with you 3 quotes, famous yoga quotes, that mean something to me. The first one's by Plato. Be kind, for everyone is fighting a huge battle. The second is by Yogi Amrit Desai. Yesterday is dead. Tomorrow isn't born. We can only live in the present. And finally, a fundamental piece of yoga philosophy: let go of what does not serve you. Take your hands to either side and push up into a seated position, and then into a standing position. Okay. Separate your feet, toes facing forward. Take a few breaths. We're standing in Tadasana, mountain pose. Let your chest, your chin fall towards your chest. Releasing. Slowly moving down. Breathe a moment here. Take your right ear to your right shoulder and breathe here. Moving back to center, let your chin fall again to your chest. Breathing here. And your left ear to your left shoulder. Breathing here. Just as we let our neck fall, we're also going to let our body fall into ragdoll. We're going to roll forward one vertebrae at a time. You can bend your knees slightly and fold forward, rolling one vertebrae at a time as you let your hands fall in front of you. Letting the weight of your body pull you down. If your hands can touch the mat, let them rest there. Your head is hanging heavy. You can also reach up and grab your elbows and let the weight of your body pull you down further. Breathing here. Bending your knees slightly as you roll forward, letting your arms come back, hang. Moving back up again, one vertebrae at a time. Until you bring your body back into alignment. The proper alignment is as if we had a string above our head and someone is pulling it. Letting your hands rest to your side. Keep your left hand at your side, raise your right hand. We're going to do a side twist, stretch, reaching over to the left, breathing here. Letting your hand fall and coming back to standing. Now raise your left hand up overhead, reaching. Breathing here. And come back to standing. Bring your hands to your buttocks, your lower back, right above the buttocks. We're going to do a small back bend. Looking up at the ceiling. Breathing here. Let your hands fall to either side and take them behind your buttocks, and we're going to slightly bend the knees and fall into a forward bend, letting your hands drape down the back of your legs, and feel free to bend your knees slightly. Breathing here. And if you aren't facing the front of your mat, turn slightly. And I'm going to step my right foot forward into a lunge. And I'm going to rock back and forth with that right leg. Feeling the release in the hamstrings. And now take your right foot and pull it back behind you, and we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. Breathing here. You can pedal your feet behind you, moving one heel and then the other down toward the mat. Feeling the release in the hamstrings. Your fingers are placed securely in front of you on the mat, fingers spread. Your head is released, and you're breathing here. Now step forward with your left foot into lunge, and you're going to rock back and forth on this side. Breathing here. Extend that left foot back again into downward dog. And this time you're going to come up as high as you can on your heels. Breathing here. And stepping, letting your knees fall to the mat into table pose. We're going to move into cat pose, stretching up. On the exhale, on the inhale, arching down into dog. Inhale, cat. Exhale, dog. Inhale, cat. Exhale, dog. Now you're going to move your back as if you're moving in a figure 8. And you don't have to follow me exactly, but go with how what feels right to your body. And release it on either side. Is the person behind you enjoying that? Could you now tuck your toes under you and come back into downward dog. Breathing here. Take your right foot and extend it up overhead. Bend your right knee and then twist it to your left side. Breathing here. And then as you come out of the pose, bring it forward and pull your right knee through your hands as we come into pigeon. Breathing here. You can stay in this position, or you can extend your hands out in front of you and fold your body over your knee, head resting on the mat, breathing here. Take your hands to either side of you again, and you're going to push back up into downward facing dog. And this time, we're going to extend our left leg up, bend the knee, and then twist the leg to the right side. Breathing here. And then pulling the leg back through your front, hands coming back into pigeon on this side, your right foot flat on the mat. Again, stay in this position, or extend your hands out in front of you. Breathe here. Okay, bring your hands back to either side and push back up into a standing position and come to the back of your mat. We're going to do 3 rounds of sun salutations. We're going to start out slow and then increase a little bit. So your big toe and your next toe are pointing forward, and there's about 4 or 5 inches between you. Hands are on either side. Again, we're in mountain pose Tadasana. I'm going to go through this slowly. I'm going to raise our hands up above us, coming into prayer. Letting our arms come on either side, and coming down into a forward bend. Coming up, bringing the hands to the shins, coming up to a flat back. Moving our hands down in front of us, we're going to step our right foot forward and come into a low lunge. We're going to tuck our left toe under us and come back into downward dog. We're going to come down into plank with a flat back, breathing here. Letting our knees come down to the mat, feet flat. Coming down into 8-point pose, you're going to move down with your chest to the mat. Chin on the mat, pulling through into upward dog. Stepping up with the left foot forward into lunge, right foot meeting the left, coming to flat back, and then coming back up into prayer pose. Okay, so the next one we're going to move a little more quickly. Coming up to prayer, folding forward into flat back, coming forward into forward bend, stepping back with the left foot, knee coming to the mat, stepping back with the right into plank, knees coming down into 8-point pose, chest coming down to the mat, chin on the front, pulling forward, up into cobra, and then tucking the toes under, coming up into downward facing dog, stepping the right foot forward into lunge, left foot forward, and coming up, back into prayer pose. And our last, just a little bit more rigorous, coming up into prayer, folding forward to flat back, coming down, stepping back with the left foot, stepping back with the right foot into plank, letting our knees drop to the ground, coming down into 8-point pose, chest in the ground, coming forward into cobra, tucking your toes under into downward facing dog. Stepping forward with our left foot into high lunge. Stepping forward, with your other foot. And coming back up to prayer pose. And now step to the back of your mat. We're going to start with Warrior One, taking your right foot forward into a lunge. Hands on either side. Breathing here. Feeling the strength that your body is utilizing to maintain this pose. Focusing on your breath. And now take your right hand and extend it in front of you. Your back arm should be parallel. Coming into Warrior Two. Breathing here. And then stepping forward with your left foot, extending your arms out in front of you, and your left leg coming up into Warrior Three. Breathing here. Stepping the foot down. Taking your hands behind you, if you can put them in prayer pose, as I am. If not, you can hold your arms like this. So prayer pose, or holding the elbows. We're going to step our right foot forward and bend forward. Breathing here. Bend your front knee slightly to come up. Take your hands out in front of you. Extend them back behind you. Clasp them behind you. Now we're going to do Standing Yoga Mudra, which is folding forward as your hands extend up and over you. You can bend your knees slightly as your head moves towards your knees. Breathing here. Bend your knees slightly as you roll back to a standing position. Come back to the back of your mat. We're going to do the other side. Stepping your left leg forward, hands raised above you into Warrior One. Breathing here. And now taking your right arm in front of you. Left arm extends behind you parallel into Warrior Two. Breathing here. Stepping forward with your right foot, coming to standing. Extending your arms out in front of you. Extending the right leg back and up into warrior three. Breathing here. Stepping the right foot back. Hands behind you again in prayer pose, or grasping your elbows. Left foot extends in front of you this time, and folding forward. Front knee can bend slightly as the head extends down toward the knee. Breathing here. Bending the knee to come up. We're now going to do a standing twist. Letting your arms and your legs come from the mat. And letting the movement stop naturally. With your right leg, you're going to extend it to the front of the mat in a 90-degree angle. Your left leg is turned slightly behind you, hands on the hips. You're going to tilt your left hip, bring your right arm, and move it down your leg, keeping this shoulder back as we move into triangle. Breathing here. You can stay here, or you can, looking at the ceiling, extend that left arm up overhead. Breathing. To come out of the pose, bend your right knee and come up, keeping the feet in the same position into 5-point angle pose. Breathing here. Turning the feet slightly forward, hands at the hips. We're going to come into forward fold, folding forward. Knees can bend slightly. Hands moving toward the mat. Head falling loose. You can extend your feet further out. And breathe here. Bring your hands to your waist, bend your knees slightly. Coming back up to 5-point angle. This time, without moving, you're just going to pivot your feet so that your left foot is now facing at the 90-degree angle, and your back foot is pivoted in. And you're going to take your left hand and move it down to your left leg. And you can have your hand on your hip or extend it overhead again, looking up at the ceiling. Legs are straight. Breathing here. Come out of the pose, bend the left leg slightly, coming back up into 5-point angle. Breathing here. Turning the feet slightly forward. Hands on the hips. You're going to fold forward, but this time you're going to take your hands on either side of your feet and fold forward in this way. You can extend your feet out further, letting your head hang loosely. Breathing here. This might be a good time to consider releasing anything that you've been carrying around on your shoulders. To come out, bend your knees slightly, put your hands up on your hips, and pivot your feet together so they're about 6 inches apart. Extend your arms out on either side of you, bending your knees, coming into chair pose. Breathing here. And now, take your hands into prayer pose and turn slightly to the right into a twist. Breathing here. Bringing the arms back out in front of you, up towards your ears, and turning towards your left side in prayer pose. Breathing here. And come back. Roll up to a standing pose. I'm going to do some balancing work. If you fall out of these poses, no problem, just give it another try. The first is eagle. Take your left hand and wrap your right arm around it. Julia, can you get John Beaver? Sorry. Testing. Testing. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we were back in eagle, and then you're going to twist your right leg around your left. And you're going to bend down. If you can, wrap that leg around you. Right foot, let's try it again.